Hinigpit ang isang lalaki ng 2 bus sa India.
Silipin po natin ang lagay ng lalaki at kung paano siya nakaligtas mula sa peligrong ito mula sa mga detalye ng balitang ibabahagi maya-maya. Magandang gabi. Ako po si Ricky Mathay.
Ako si Nina Richie Alagaw Flores. Ito ang mata ng Agila International. Para naman sa mga headlines ngayong araw ng Miyerkules.
Bilang ng tambay noong Nobyembre nabawasan.
Pag-repatriate sa mahigit 200 Pilipinong binigyan ng Royal Clemency sa United Arab Emirates, ikinakasana ng gobyerno ng Pilipinas.
US President-elect Donald Trump nagbabala sa Hamas bago ito maupo sa pwesto.
30,000 katao inilikas dahil sa Los Angeles wildfire.
At fact-checking programs sa US ibinasura na ng Meta. Bumaba ang bilang ng mga tambay noong November 2024 sa 1.66 million. Ayon po yan sa Philippine Statistics Authority or PSA.
Mas mababa ito kumpara sa bilang na 1.97 milyon noong October 2024. Ayon kay National Statistician Dennis Mapa, ang year-on-year na bilang ng mga unemployed persons noong November 2024 ay mas mababa kung ikukumpara sa naitala noong November 2023 na 1.83 million. Katulad nito, bumaba rin ang bahagdan ng mga underemployed sa 10.8% mula 12.6%. Paliwanag ng PSA may ambag sa pagpapababa ng bilang ng tambay sa positibong momentum sa labor market habang mas maraming Pilipino naman ang nakahanap ng trabaho sa panahong iyon. Kaya sa datos ng PSA sa employment rate, pumalo ito sa 96.8% mula sa 96.1% noong October 2024.
Batay sa report na inilabas ng WTW Global Medical Trends Survey na asahang tataas ng 18.3% ang medical costs sa Pilipinas. Anila maiko-konsiderang ito na pangalawang pinakamataas sa pagtaas sa Asia-Pacific region. Ang projection sa pagtaas ng gastusing pang-medikal ay maiuugnay na rin sa patuloy na paglobo ng serbisyo, paglaki ng gasto sa mga ospital at ang pagdami ng mga sakit. Kaya pahayag ni Senator Bongo, kailangang mas palawakin pa ang access sa healthcare para sa mga Pilipino. Paliwanag pa ng mambabatas, ilang sanhi sa pagtaas ng mga gastos sa medikal ay dahil sa senaryong napipilitan ang mga Pilipinong humugot sa sariling ipon na dahil sa mataas sa serbisyo medikal na lalong pumipilay sa kanilang ikinabubuhay. Nabanggit kasi sa ulat ng WTW na ang mga gasto sa medical insurance sa Pilipinas ay tumaas ng doble sa loob ng 3 sunod na taon dahil sa rebound. Ito ay mula sa madalas na pag-claim ng mga gumagamit nito.
Inihahanda na ng Department of Agriculture ang kanilang Maximum Suggested Retail Price o SRP system para tugunan ang mga hindi makatuwirang retail prices ng bigas sa ilang lokal na pamilihan. Ayon kay Agriculture Secretary Francisco Chu Laurel Jr., dapat walang imported rice na itinitinda sa halagang 60 pesos kada kilo. Giit ni Laurel, may kukonsiderang profiteering ang pagbebenta ng 60 pesos na bigas kada kilo. Kaya sa mga susunod na araw, makikipagpulong ang Agriculture Department sa ibang kagawaran at sangay ng gobyerno para maisaayos ang mga hakbang na kanilang gagawin upang matugunan ang mataas na presyo ng bigas. Pero paliwanag ng kalihim, hindi magsisilbing price cap sa retail price ang maximum SRP system. Samantalang inaasahan naman na may lulunsad ang nasabing rice price system bago matapos ang buwang ito.
Isa sa ilalim po ang EDSA sa rehabilitation bilang pagsunod sa utos si Paulo Ferdinand Marcos Jr. na magsagawa ang gobyerno ng malalaking proyekto sa infrastruktura ngayong taon. Ayon kay Department of Public Works and Highways o DPWH Secretary Manuel Bunoan, priority project ng Pangulo ang pagpapabuti at pagpapaunlad ng kalidad ng biyahe sa EDSA. Inaasahan niya nga matatapos ang EDSA rehabilitation sa mga susunod na buwan. Ang EDSA ay ang tinatawag na busiest street sa Pilipinas. Ito ay matatagpuan sa Metro Manila kung saan saklaw ng kalsadang ito ang 6 na lungsod ng rehiyon. Bukod po sa rehabilitasyon ng EDSA, inaasahang matatapos ngayong taon ang malalaking infrastructure projects ng DPWH, kabilang na ang Central Luzon Expressway na magkokonekta sa Tarlac at sa Cabanatuan, Nueva Ecija.
Nakikipag-ugnayan na ang Pilipinas sa mga concerned authorities sa United Arab Emirates o UAE para sa repatriation process ng 220 detained Filipino na binigyan ng Royal Clemency. Ayon sa Department of Foreign Affairs o DFA, ipinagkaloob sa mga Pinoy sa UAE ang pardon kasabay ng ika-53 National Day ng UAE. Sa isang joint statement ng Philippine Embassy sa Abu Dhabi at ng Consulate General sa Dubai, kapwa tinawag nila na isang patunay na tapat ang UAE para isulong ang foster peace, reconciliation at humanity dignity dahil nagkaloob ito ng royal pardon. Nakikipagtulungan na rin ang Department of Migrant Workers sa mga opisina sa Abu Dhabi at Dubai para matiyak ang ligtas at agarang pagbalik sa Pilipinas ng mga Pilipinong pinalaya mula sa kanilang pagkakabilanggo.
Nangako sa Department of Justice Secretary Crispin Remulla na mas pahihigpitin pa nito ang border control sa Pilipinas. Ito po ay para mapigilan ang pagpasok ng mga dayuhang pogante sa bansa. Paninindigan kasi ng kalihim na ang Pilipinas ay hindi lugar na pinupuntahan ng mga international criminals na tumatakas mula sa kanilang pananagutan sa kani-kanilang mga bansa. Binalaan din ng kalihim ang sino mang dayuhang magtatangkang magtago sa Pilipinas. Ayon kay Remulla, ipinag-utos na niya na maragdagan ang mga mas mahigpit na panununtunan na ipatutupad sa mga entry and exit points sa buong bansa. Kasama rin sa mandatong ito ng Justice Department ang Immigration Bureau at ibang law enforcement agencies. Anya, maiging babantayan ng pamahalaan ng mga paliparang kumukonekta sa ibang mga bansa, kasama rin ang mga international ports sa iba't ibang bahagi ng Pilipinas.
Ipinagmalaki ng Armed Forces of the Philippines o AFP na may kakayahan ng Pilipinas para makaiwas sa cyber intrusion kagaya ng hacking. Ito ay matapos ang mga ulat na nagtangka mga Chinese hackers na nakawin ang mga sensitibong dato ng Office of the President at Militar ng Pilipinas. Sinabi ni AFP spokesperson Colonel Francel Padilla na nagawang mapigilan ng militar ang nasabing insidente. May sapat kasi anyang proteksyon ng bansa laban sa hacking dahil pinaigting ng AFP ang cybersecurity defenses at pakikipag-ugnayan nito sa mga allied partners at ahensya ng pamahalaan ng Pilipinas. Patuloy rin anyang pinalakas ng AFP ang kakayahan ng militar sa pagtukoy sa mga banta sa cyber domain ng gobyerno. Batay sa ulat ng Bloomberg, 3 beses nang pinasok ng Chinese hackers ang computer systems ng bansa, ngunit naharangan pa rin ito ng mga cybersecurity experts ng Pilipinas.
Ayon sa mga analysts, asahan na nila na sasadsad ang halaga ng piso kontra dolyar ngayong taon dahil po yan sa paglakas ng halaga ng dolyar bunga ng nakaambang Trump policies. Ang pagbulusok ng piso sa 59 pesos per $1 ay maaari nila mangyari sa second quarter ng taong ito. Subalit, hindi naman daw magiging kasing baba ito ng 60 pesos to $1. Hindi lamang ang Philippine peso ang maaapektuhan ng mga polisiya ni US President-elect Trump dahil mararamdaman din ito ng iba pang mga bansa sa Asia. Lalo na at nangako si Trump na papatawan niya ng karagdagang 10% na buwis ang China, habang 25% tariff rate naman ang ipapataw niya sa mga produkto ng Mexico at Canada. Hindi naman nababahala ang ilang ekonomista sa pananamlay ng halaga ng piso dahil kumpara sa mga central banks ng ASEAN bloc ay mas maraming reserba ang Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. Anila, nananatiling matatag at matibay pa rin ang halaga ng piso kahit na lumalakas ang halaga ng dolyar. Susunod, pulis ng South Korea susubukang muling arestuhin si Yoon Suk-yeol.
far-right French politician Jacques Le Pen pumanaw na.
Ayan Fox, dumating na sa France. Mga detalye po ng mga balita nga at iba pang mga balita sa pagbabalik ng mata ng Agila International.
This NET25 and NET25 special coverage.
Si Trina from Kikay's Elite, and nandito kami sa Sampaloc ngayon on our way to Caliraya. So today kasama ko yung mga Kikays. Magra-ride kami using our Vespa. So samahan nyo kami.
This is Motorcycle Republic, tuwing Sabado, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Let's net together, sa NET25, sa NET25.
Nahaharap ngayon si impeached South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol sa bago at mas pinalawig na puwersa para sa kanyang pagkakaaresto para sa kanyang insurrection charges. Kamakailan lamang ay nangako ang top investigator ng Seoul na hindi ito magpapahadlang sa kahit anong security blockade upang maaresto ang dating politiko. Umapela naman si Acting President Choi Sang-mok sa mga otoridad na sana ay mapigilan nilang masakta ng mga sibilyan sa kanilang pagsisilbi ng arrest warrant. Iilang linggo na nagkaharap ang mga magkabilang kampo ng taga-suporta at oposisyon ng dating presidente sa presidential compound na nagpapalitan naman ng mga rally. Pinatatag naman ng Presidential Security Service ang naturang compound ngayong linggo kung saan naglaan sila ng barbed wire at barikada gamit ang mga bus upang hadlangan ng mga otoridad na makapasok sa Hillside Villa ni Yoon. Nahaharap kasi ngayon si Yoon Suk-yeol sa insurrection charges dahil sa kanyang nabigong pagtatangka na ideklarang martial law, kasama rito ang karagdagang impeachment trial niya na nakabinbin sa korte dahil hindi pa niya ito dinaluhan ni isang beses. Ayon naman sa kanyang abogado ay hindi nila natatanggap ang naturang arrest warrant dahil walang kapangyarihan ng naturang korte at investigador na iutos ang pagkakaaresto sa kanya.
그래서 청구한 영장이 발부됐다는 것이 놀랍고, 그리고 어떤 공수처의 그동안 관할이 중앙지법이었는데 전례 없이 그 서부지방법원에 영장이 청구된 것이 참 유감스럽다. 그리고 이런 불법적인 또 영장 청구가 발부된다는 것이 이 법치주의에 맞는지, 이런 불법적인 영장 청구는 불법 무효라는 입장입니다.
Pumanaw na po ang kilalang far-right politician ng France na si Jean-Marie Le Pen sa edad na 96. Ayon sa pamilya nito, na ilang linggo itong nakaratay sa pagamutan bago tuluyang buwawian ng buhay. Si Le Pen ay hindi naniniwala sa Holocaust at wala itong pagsisisi sa paglaban niya sa kasarian, lahi at immigration para sa France. Itinaguyod niya ang French far-right National Front Party noong taong 1972. Umabot pa ito sa presidential election runoff laban kay Jacques Chirac noong taong 2002. Sa taong 2011 naman ay pinamunuan ng anak nito na si Marine ang partido kung saan pinalitan niya ang pangalan sa National Rally na naging pangunahing political forces ng France. Taong 2015 nang patalsikin si Le Pen sa National Rally matapos na makailang ulit na nitong itinatanggi ang Holocaust claims na kanyang ginawa sa iilang okasyon.
Sinabi ng Health Ministry ng France na nakapagtala ito ng unang kaso ng Mpox virus sa bansa. Ang pasyente nila ay walang travel history sa Central Africa kung saan makikita ang clade 1B at iba pang uri na Mpox strains. Ngunit nagkaroon ng contact ang pasyente sa dalawang individual na umuwi galing sa Central Africa. Nagsasagawa na nila ng contact tracing ang mga kinauukulan upang malaman kung kanino nanggaling ang impeksyon at matunton kung sino-sino ang nagkaroon na ng contact sa bawat isa. Nagbabala ang World Health Organization o WHO sa Europa na magiging handa ito sa pagkalat ng Mpox virus at gumawa nila lahat ng mga bansa ng paraan upang pigilan ang pagkalat ng nasabing virus. Ang Mpox virus ay nagdudulot ng lagnat, pananakit ng katawan at mga sugat sa balat na para bang pigsa. Nakamamatay din nila ito kung hindi maaagapan. Ang virus na ito ay maaaring makuha sa sexual contact, kagat ng hayop at mga maruruming bagay kagaya ng damit at bedsheets.
Samantala, isang miyembro ng Parlamento ng Greenland ang nagsabing hindi pinagbibili ng Denmark ang kanilang teritoryo. Ito ay isang araw matapos ipahayag ni US President Trump ang kanyang interes na bilhin ng Greenland. Emmy Kapilit Taroha po para sa balita.
Iginiit ni Greenlandic Member of the Parliament, Aya Chemnitz, na kailangang tanggihan ang United States takeover sa teritoryo. Ito ay matapos lumapag sa Greenland ang panganay na lalaking anak ni Donald Trump na si Donald Jr. Kamakailan, inulit kasi ni US President Donald Trump ang kanyang interes na pamunuan ng isla, isang autonomous na teritoryo ng Denmark. Ani Chemnitz, hindi dapat bilhin ni numan ang Greenland.
I think in many ways, it's not a question of whether should we be American or Danish citizens. It's a question of whether should we maybe collaborate a bit more with the US. We shouldn't be bought by anyone because Greenland is not for sale and Greenland will not be for sale. But we can have a closer collaboration on business development with the US.
Noong isang buwan, sinabi ni Trump na kailangang kontrolin ng US ang Greenland. At noong Lunes, sa kanyang Truth Social platform, pinost nito ang mga katagang Make Greenland Great Again. Lumipad patungong Greenland si Donald Jr. sakay ng Trump Force One, isang pribadong eroplano. Bumisita ito sa teritoryo na tumagal ng 5 oras. Hindi ito nakipagpulong sa kahit sinong opisyal ng isla na may populasyong 57,000. Dagdag ni Chemnitz, kawalan ng respeto sa teritoryo kung ang dahilan ng pagbisita ni Donald Jr. ay upang bilhin ito.
My reaction to the Trump visit is that all American tourists are welcome in Greenland. We just had a new landing strip and we would like to see much more business development and especially tourism, but also the extraction of raw earth materials in Greenland is something that we're quite interested in. So if you only look at it from a visit from an American tourist, I think it's great. But we all know that the timing and also the dad to Trump Jr. is of course saying that he would like to own and control Greenland. And we don't like that. We find it quite disrespectful in Greenland.
Noong 2019, hindi natuloy ang pagbisita ni Trump sa teritoryo nang balikan ni Denmark Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen ang ideya na bilhin ng US ang Greenland. Subalit sa kasalukuyan, sa kanyang talumpati nitong bagong taon, ayon kay Greenland Prime Minister Mut Egede, hindi pinagbibili ang isla. Ang Greenland ay dating Danish colony hanggang 1953. Ngayon, ito ay isa ng semi-sovereign territory sa ilalim ng Denmark. Nitong mga nakaraang taon, tila umasim ang relasyon ng teritoryo at ng Denmark dahil sa mga aligasyon ng pang-aabuso sa mga residente ng Greenland. Emmy Kapilit Taroha para sa mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Patuloy na binabantayan ng US ang umano'y natuklasan nitong alyansa at kolaborasyon sa pagitan ng China at Houthi rebels na nagbabantang sumira sa kapayapaan ng Red Sea. Batay sa impormasyong inilabas ng ilang international news organizations, nagpapalitan umano ang China at rebelding Houthi ng serbisyo at war materials sa pamamagitan ng komplikado at patagong supply chain. Sa ilalim ng naturang supply chain, pinapayagan umano ng mga rebelde ang pagdaan ng mga barkong may Chinese flag kapalit ng mga Chinese-made weapons. Ang naturang sistema ay binuo umano ng mga rebelde mula pa noong nagsimula ang mga sunod-sunod na pag-atake sa Red Sea. Sa pamamagitan nito ay nagagawa ng mga rebelde na makakuha ng mga advanced components para sa kanilang ballistic at cruise missiles. Batay pa sa US intelligence, pinaplano rin ng mga rebelde na gumawa ng daan-daang cruise missiles na may kakayahang abutin ang mga bansa na nasa Persian Gulf gamit ang mga military component na nakuha mula sa China. Bagaman hindi direktang itinuro ng US ang Chinese government na may pakana rito, makailang ulit na umanong nakipag-ugnayan ng Washington sa Beijing upang ipaabot ito kasama ng mga kumpanyang may kaugnayan sa naturang supply chain, ngunit wala pa ring sagot dito ang Chinese government.
Naging matagumpay ang paglapag ng international flight sa Syria. Lumapag ang Qatar Airways sa Damascus International Airport itong Martes kung saan binati ng mga nag-aabang na mga kaibigan at kaanak ng mga pasahero na nasa terminal building. Karamihan sa mga pasahero ay mga Syrian nationals na bumalik sa bansa mula nang sumiklab ang gulo noong 2011. Ito po ang unang pagkakataong nagkaroon ng international flight matapos ang pag-alis sa pwesto ni Bashar al-Assad.
Sa Ghana, nanumpa sa ikalawang pagkakataon bilang Pangulo si John Dramani Mahama. Alamin natin kung ano ang uunahin niyang tuparin sa kanyang plataporma. Si Marjorie Quintos para sa kabuuan ng balita.
Noong Martes sa isang seremonya sa kabisera ng Ghana na Accra, ipinangako ni Pangulong John Dramani Mahama na iibsan niya ang kabiguan ng mga mamamayan sa pamamagitan ng pagsulong ng ekonomiya ng bansa. Paano? Sa paglikhaan niya ng kailangang mga trabaho. Ani Mahama, i-reset nito ang bansa.
Any honest introspection and reflection on the pulse of our nation would reveal that many within our population do not feel that they have benefited from or partaking in this democratic dividend. Where people buffeted by severe economic crisis and hardships. And in the last few years, we have lurched from crisis to crisis. But there is hope on the horizon. Today should mark the beginning of a new opportunity. An opportunity for us to make a difference in our governance and our economic management. We shall reset our dear nation, Ghana.
Nanalo ang 66 na taong gulang na lider ng oposisyon noong 7 ng Desyembre. Malaki ang lamang nito kung kaya't nagwagi sa kanyang political comeback sa bansang ito sa kanlurang Afrika. Para sa mga mamamayan ng Ghana, umaasa sila sa pangakong ito ni Mahama na buhayin muli ang puwersa ng mga manggagawa upang magkaroon ng hanap buhay ang mga taong matagal nang naghihirap. Lalong-lalo na ang mga kabataan na nag-iisip lisanin ang bansa para sa mas maginhawang pamumuhay.
The youth of Ghana are suffering too much. A lot of them are traveling abroad every blessed day. Right as I'm speaking with you, when you go to airport right now, some of our youth are going outside. Why? Because they don't have job. So we want him to create job. We want him to create job, a job that will help the youth to stay in the Ghana. Because every youth in every country is the backbone. Is the backbone of their country. So if the youth are traveling outside, how are we going to develop our country?
Ang Ghana ang pangalawang pinakamalakas na producer ng kakao sa mundo. Papalitan ni Mahama si Nana Akufo-Addo matapos itong magsilbi ng 2 termino. Ang Ghana ay nasa rehiyon kung saan talamak ang military coups at jihadist insurgencies. Higit sa 20 pangulo at pinuno ng estado sa mundo ang dumalo sa seremonya sa Independence Square ng Accra. Marjorie Quintos para sa mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Inanunsyo na po ni Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau ang kanyang pagbibitiw bilang leader ng Liberal Party.
I intend to resign as party leader, as Prime Minister, after the party selects its next leader through a robust, nationwide, competitive process. Last night, I asked the President of the Liberal Party to begin that process. This country deserves a real choice in the next election, and it has become clear to me that if I'm having to fight internal battles, I cannot be the best option in that election. As you all know, I am a fighter, and I am not someone who backs away from a fight, particularly when a fight is as important as this one is. But I have always been driven by my love for Canada, by my desire to serve Canadians, and by what is in the best interest of Canadians. And Canadians deserve a real...
Sinabi ng 53 anyos na tuluyan itong aalis bilang Prime Minister hanggat wala pang napipiling bagong papalit sa kanya. Isa sa mga labis nitong pinanghihinayangan ay ang proseso ng halalan ng kanilang bansa. Mananatiling suspendido ang Parlamento ng Canada hanggang March 24. Pumayag anya ang Governor General na magsagawa ng bagong sesyon ang Parlamento sa Marso. Si Trudeau po ay naging leader ng Liberal Party sa loob ng 11 taon at naging Prime Minister ng 9 taon. Nakaharap ito sa mga krisis mula sa banta ni US President-elect Donald Trump na magpataw ng mataas na taripa sa mga produkto mula Canada at ang pagbatikos nito sa halalan. Inihayag din ni Ontario Premier Doug Ford ang kanyang pagkabahala sa banta ng panibagong pagbaba ng Trump tariffs sa kanilang bansa.
As the country saw this morning, the Prime Minister has said that he was going to step down as Prime Minister. But that doesn't mean he's no longer Prime Minister for the next month or 2 months. We need the Prime Minister to focus 100% on the U.S. tariffs. We have 14 days left before elect President Trump gets inaugurated, and we need to focus to make sure these tariffs don't move forward, and if they do move forward, we need to make sure that the federal government has a strong plan.
Inako naman ni Alberta Premier Dale Smith at ang kapwa niyang liga ng mga premier na sila na ang makikipagnegosasyon kay Donald Trump hinggil sa plano nito para sa Canada.
I think from what I am reading on social media and elsewhere, the U.S. president seems intent on putting tariffs in place. And so we're in a position now where we've got a lame duck leader with no immediate plans to leave, with no resolution to who is going to be the bargaining partner until, I think it was suggested, as late as May. So I believe it's up to myself, the other premiers, to make the case to the Americans ourselves in the absence of federal leadership.
Ilang oras pa lamang matapos ang pagbaba ni Justin Trudeau bilang Prime Minister ng Canada, ay muling inalok ni Trump ang bansa na maging 51st state ng Amerika. Si Donald Trump at Justin Trudeau na hindi kailanman nagkaroon ng mabuting relasyon ay nagpa siyang muling alokin ng Canada na maging Estados Unidos sa gitna ng kaguluhang politikal na nangyayari sa bansa. Una nang sinabi ni Trump na nais ng mga Canadians na maging kasapi ng Estados Unidos noong nakaraang buwan sa mga unang kabanata sa naging political shake-up sa administrasyon ni former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau.
Economic force. Because Canada and the United States, that would really be something. You get rid of that artificially drawn line, and you take a look at what that looks like, and it would also be much better for national security. Don't forget, we basically protect Canada.
By executive order, are you...
Matagal nang nagbanta si Trump na papatawan niya ng karagdagang 25% ang lahat ng produkto ng manggagaling sa Canada kung hindi mapipigilan ng Toronto ang pagdagsa ng droga at migrante sa kanilang border. Sa ilang okasyon na rin kinantsawan ni Trump si Trudeau kung saan binansagan niya itong governor of the great state of Canada.
We don't need anything they have. We don't need their dairy products. We have more than they have. We don't need anything. So why are we losing $200 billion a year and more to protect Canada? And I said that to, as I called him, Governor Trudeau. I said, listen, what would happen if we didn't subsidize you, if we didn't, because we give them a lot of money. But why are we supporting a country, $200 billion plus a year? Our military is at their disposal. All of these other things, they should be a state. That's why I told Trudeau when he came down, I said, what would happen if we didn't do it?
Samantala, may mabigat na babala si US President-elect Donald Trump sa mga Hamas. Sinabi nitong sa oras na ito ay maupo at wala pang napapakawalang bihag ang mga Hamas ay lahat ay gagawin nito para matapos na ang nasabing kaguluhan. Dagdag pa niyang hindi magiging maganda para sa Hamas kapag manghihimasok na ang US. Maging sa gera sa Ukraine at Russia ay handa umanong mamagitan ang Estados Unidos para tuluyan ng matigil ang nasabing kaguluhan.
If those hostages aren't back, I don't want to hurt your negotiation. If they're not back by the time I get into office, all hell will break out in the Middle East. And it will not be good for Hamas, and it will not be good, frankly, for anyone. All hell will break out. I don't have to say anymore, but that's what it is. And they should have given them back a long time. They should have never taken them. They should have never been the attack of October 7th. People forget that.
Sa isang press conference sa Mar-a-Lago ay ibinoses ni President-elect Donald Trump ang kanyang opinyon sa iba't ibang issue ngayon, ang Greenland, ang Canada at base sa kanyang mga panibagong pahayag ang Panama Canal.
You're talking about Panama and Greenland. No, I can't assure you on either of those two. But I can say this, we need them for economic security. The Panama Canal was built for our military. I'm not going to commit to that now. It might be that you'll have to do something. Look, the Panama Canal is vital to our country. It's being operated by China. China. And we gave the Panama Canal to Panama. We didn't give it to China. And they've abused it. They've abused that gift. It should have never been made, by the way. Giving the Panama Canal is why Jimmy Carter lost the election, in my opinion, more so maybe than the hostages. The hostages were a big deal. But if you remember, and nobody wants to talk about the Panama Canal now because, you know, it's inappropriate, I guess, but because it's a bad part of the Carter legacy. But he was a good man. Look, he was a good man. I knew him a little bit, and he was a very fine person. But that was a big mistake. Giving the Panama Canal to Panama was a very big mistake.
Inihayag ni Donald Trump ang posibilidad ng paggamit ng Washington ng lakas militar o economic action para maisulong ang acquisition ng Panama Canal. Maraming naniniwalang nagpasya si Trump na pagtuunan ng pansin ng Panama Canal dahil sa malapit nilang relasyon sa China, kung kaya't napipilitan ngayong bisitahin ng naturang politiko ang orihinal na 1978 na kasunduang nagbigay sa Panama Canal ng pamumuno ng Major Maritime Highway. Nadismaya siya dahil tila nilabag daw ng Panama ang lahat ng terminong nakasaad sa kanilang kasunduan. Hiniling din ni Trump na sana ay maging patas ang Panama sa pagtrato nito sa mga bansang tumatangkilik sa naturang daungan dahil anya mas mataas di umano ang buwis na binabayad ng Estados Unidos kung ikukumpara sa ibang bansa tuwing dadaan sila sa nasabing kanal.
We gave it away for $1. But the deal was that, you know, they have to treat us fairly. They don't treat us fairly. They charge more for our ships than they charge for ships of other countries. They charge more for our Navy than they charge for navies of other countries. They laugh at us because they think we're stupid, but we're not stupid anymore. So the Panama Canal is under discussion with them right now. They violated every aspect of the agreement, and they morally violated it also.
Naranasan po ng mga taga Mid-Atlantic United States ang kanilang kauna-unahang winter storm ng taon. Nangyari ito sa unang araw ng certification ng Kongreso para sa pagkapanalo ni US President-elect Donald Trump. Rosel Ferre po para sa balita.
Nagsara ang federal offices sa kabisera ng Estados Unidos, pati na ang pampublikong mga paaralan. Balot ng yelong may 5 hanggang 8 pulgada ang Washington, D.C. at ang mga kalapit estado nitong Maryland at Virginia. At dahil madulas, malabo at delikado ang mga daan, sadyang kay bagal ng takbo ng mga motoristang naglakas loob bumiyahe ngayong araw. Ito rin ang araw kung kailan nagpulong ang mga mambabatas ng bansa upang formal na isertipika ang eleksyon ni Republican Donald Trump bilang Pangulo. Kung babalikan ng kasaysayan, 4 na taon na ang nakalipas nang suguri ng Trump supporters ang US Capitol Building upang tangkaing baliktarin ang pagkatalo nito laban kay Biden noong 2020. Tinatayang hihina na ang snowstorm ngayong Martes. Samantala, nasa 33 degrees Fahrenheit o 1 degrees Celsius ang temperatura sa Washington. Dahil dyan, sarado pa rin ang mga paaralan hanggang Martes. Rosel Feria, Washington, D.C. para sa Mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Susunod, malawakang wildfire umusbong sa Los Angeles.
Fact-checking program ng Estados Unidos ibinasura ng Meta.
At Zendaya Tom Holland engaged na. Detalye ng mga balita sa pagbabalik ng Mata ng Agila International.
Matatag ang paninindigan. Matapang sa pagresponde. Matapat sa paglilingkod. Patikang tagapagbalita. Mata natin sa balitaan. Alex Santos kasama gabi-gabi sa Mata ng Agila Primetime.
Ang mga maiinit na balita at rumaratsyad ang usapan ng bayan, ihahatid namin sa 100%! 100% ang pagbabalita! 100% talakayan! Lunes hanggang Biyernes! Alas 5 hanggang alas 7 ng umaga! Live na live sa Radyo Agila 1062 Mega Manila! At sa NET25 100%!
Sa NET25, let's get together. Sa NET25.
Nothing is quite as simple as it seems. To understand the world better, we need to take a closer look. Experience knowledge. Tomorrow today.
Samantalang isinara ang isang bubble tea shop sa Houston, Texas matapos dumiretso ang isang kotse sa loob mismo ng establishmento. Kita po sa video ang ilang sandaling pagharurot ng kotse bago ito pumasok sa loob ng gusali at bumangga sa counter ng store. Ayon sa lokal na ulat, nakaligtas ang pahinante ng sasakyan na napagalamang may dalawang matandang couple. Nagpahayag naman ng pagkadismaya may-ari ng store na si Peter Fan dahil sa naging pinsala sa kanyang shop. Wala namang nasaktan na empleyado sa naging insidente dahil nasa palikuran pala ang mga ito nang sumalpok ang kotse sa loob ng gusali. Sa kabila nito ay determinado si Fan na muling ayusin ang kanyang store para magsimula muli.
Umakyat na sa 126 ang naitalang nasawi mula sa magnitude 7.1 na lindol na tumama sa Tibet region ng China. Ayon sa Ministry of Emergency Management ng China, hindi bababa sa 188 ang nasaktan mula sa lindol. Batay sa datos ng state broadcaster ng China, higit sa 1,000 mga bahay ang napinsala mula sa pagguho ng mga gusali. Nakapagtala naman ng higit sa 150 aftershocks ang China Earthquake Network. Mahigit 3,000 rescuers ang kasalukuyang pinakalat sa 27 bayan malapit sa epicenter ng lindol para sumagip sa mga natrap na residente. Sinabi naman ni Vice Premier Zhang Guoqing na naglaan ang Beijing ng 100 million won para gamitin sa disaster relief.
Isang lalaki naman po ang muntik nang namatay dahil naipit sa dalawang nag-uunahang bus sa Tamil Nadu, India. Kita po sa video na pasakay sana ng bus ang biktima nang biglang sumulpot sa tabi nito ang isa pang bus. Mabuti na lamang at natumba ang lalaki at dahil dito ay nakaligtas siya sa tiyak na trahedya. Tumulong naman ang ibang motorista sa natumbang biktima at kinumpronta rin nila ang driver ng bus na nag-overtake. Dito na nila nalaman na pagmamayari pala ng gobyerno ng India ang kumpanya ng bus na muntik nang makadisgrasya sa lalaki. Samantala, inilikas ang 30,000 mga residente malapit sa Pacific Palisades area sa Los Angeles dahil sa malaking wildfire. Ayon sa mga otoridad, nasa halos 2,921 acres na ng lupa ng Pacific Palisades ang tinupok ng apoy. Nasa 13,000 structures naman ang pinaniniwalaang nanganganib dahil sa wildfire. Ayon naman sa National Weather Service, bago ang wildfire, umihip ang malakas na windstorm na may bilis sa 50 to 80 miles per hour na may kasamang isolated winds na may bilis na 80 to 100 miles per hour sa mga bundok at mga gulod. Dito na kumalat ang apoy ng mabilis. Nag-deploy na ang mga otoridad ng mga fire engines, helicopters at mga emergency personnel para tumulong sa pag-apula ng apoy.
Samantala, nilamon ng malaking apoy ang compound ng Ambev Beverage Factory sa siyudad ng Manaus sa Brazil. Ayon sa Ambev, agad na naapula ang apoy sa compound ng pabrika ng fire brigade sa lugar. Ayon sa salaysay ng Fire Department ng Manaus, bandang alas 5 ng umaga nang nakatanggap ang kanilang tanggapan ng tawag na kailangan ng isang rescue operation sa site. Naagapan naman ng mga bumbero ang apoy kaya hindi na ito tuluyang kumalat pa sa mga katabing gusali nito. Wala ring napaulat na nasawi o kaya'y nasaktan sa insidente. ChatGPT ang ginamit ng Cybertruck blast suspect upang planuhin ang pagpapasabog sa harap ng Trump International Hotel sa Las Vegas, USA. Ang ChatGPT ay isang artificial intelligence program na pinangangambahan na marami ring maidudulot na hindi maganda kung gagamitin sa maling paraan. Si Tony Rose Valenzuela para sa report.
Kinumpirma ng Las Vegas Police na gumamit ng artificial intelligence program na ChatGPT ang suspect sa likod ng pagpapasabog ng Cybertruck noong unang araw ng taon. Inilarawan ni Clark County Sheriff Kevin McMahill at Assistant Sheriff Dory Corrine kung paanong ginamit ng suspect ang AI program upang humanap ng impormasyon kung gaano karaming eksplosibo ang kailangan at kung paanong pasasabugin ang mga ito.
We also have clear evidence in this case now that the suspect used ChatGPT, artificial intelligence, to help plan his attack.
But he basically starts using ChatGPT, which is a generative AI, to be able to get information on how to conduct this particular plot. So ultimately, you'll see that he looks at trying to figure out the amount of explosives needed in order to conduct the explosion he was looking to cause. He also talks about, in the next set of questions, you'll see he's trying to figure out where to buy fireworks and how much of it to buy. He looks at the equivalence of those fireworks and how they compare to TNT and other types of explosive material. On this next set of questions, there's a focus on the velocity of the bullet fired from the firearm and determining whether that would ignite the explosives. This is an important component.
Makikita sa surveillance footage na ibinahagi sa briefing kung paano binuhusan ng suspect ng gasolina ang Cybertruck na pinasabog nito sa labas ng Trump International Hotel. Dagdag ni Sheriff McMahill, isang nakababahalang pangyayari ito kaugnay ng paggamit ng AI. Anya, marami silang natutunan sa trahedya.
We knew that AI was going to change the game at some point or another in really all of our lives. And certainly, I think this is the first incidents that I'm aware of on U.S. soil where ChatGPT is utilized to help an individual build a particular device, to learn information all across the country as they're moving forward. And so, absolutely, it's a concerning moment for us, but it's also goes back to my last point that it's instructive to us, right? It's instructive to us across this great country of ours to share with other law enforcement.
Isang 6 na pahinang manifesto ang natagpuan sa cellphone ng suspect na naglalaman ng mga sama ng loob nito. Ayon sa manifesto, ang pag-atake ay para magpakamatay at hindi manakit ng iba. Tony Rose Valenzuela para sa mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Isang bagong caravan na may sakay na 200 Honduran migrants ang maaga umalis papuntang Estados Unidos. Hinahabol nilang makarating sa border bago manumpa si President-elect Donald Trump sa 20 ng Enero. Leo Velasco po para sa balita.
Ang bagong Honduran migrant caravan na ito ay binubuo ng mga pamilyang may bata gayon din ng mga imigranteng individual. Bitbit ang kanilang mga ari-arian, nilisan nilang isang terminal ng bus sa San Pedro Sula, ang pangalawang pinakamalaking lungsod ng Honduras. Habang winagawayway ang bandera ng kanilang bansa, sinimulan nilang paglalakbay bago sumikat ang araw. Marami sa mga ito ay iniwan ng kawalan ng hanap buhay, tanga ng pag-asa na makahanap ng mas mabuting kinabukasan sa Amerika. Para sa marami, mas maigi ang makipagsapalaran kaysa ang mag-abang sa wala.
Es más difícil quedarse aquí. Es más difícil quedarse aquí y no poder pagar un mes de alquiler. Saber que el mes de alquiler se acerca y no poder pagarlo. Entonces, por eso hemos tomado la decisión de irnos.
A pesar de todo, nosotros vamos por una vida mejor, por salir adelante, porque ya la verdad de las cosas aquí cuesta hallar empleo, trabajo y todo eso, ¿me entiendes? Y a veces nosotros tenemos familia y la verdad de las cosas, lo que queremos es sacarlos adelante a nuestros hijos, a nuestra mujer, a nuestros padres, porque es lo único que los queda, migrar, porque ya aquí en este país ya no se puede hacer nada.
Ang paglalakbay na ito ay may kasamang pagmamadali. Kulang 2 linggo mula ngayon, magsisimula na ang termino ni Donald Trump bilang Pangulo ng Estados Unidos. Nagudyat na kasi ang administrasyon ni Trump na mag-iigpit sa mga tuntunin ng immigration. Nangangulog ang mas makipot ang tsansa ng mga migrante na makatawid papasok ng US. Leo Velasco para sa mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Nagsimula na ang kontrobersyal na congestion pricing sa lungsod ng New York sa Estados Unidos. Alamin natin mula kay Leslie Gumarang kung anong masasabi ng mga drivers, residents at mga negosyante ukol sa isyung ito.
Ang congestion pricing sa New York City ang kauna-unahang nagkatotoo sa bansa. Nagsimula ito noong linggo makaraan ng patong-patong na pagsubok ukol sa legalidad nito.
For New York, what I think is especially important is it shows we can do big things. You know, sometimes it feels like New York is, that cities in general are, and the government process is paralyzed and can't take action, whether it's climate change or other big issues. We are taking action to protect our city economically, socially, environmentally.
Nagsimulang maningil ang New York ng toll na may presyo mula $9 hanggang $23, depende sa klase ng sasakyan. Ang ilan na hindi pabor sa anila ay mataas na singil na ito.
A lot of people who work in downtown or some other places, they have to, or some people who travel from Connecticut or Staten Island or any Pennsylvania, so they had to take a car to come, and now they have to pay for 5 days extra money, those working days. I think it's not fair. Like, I could understand if you charging $2 or something, but $9 is a lot.
Ayon kay Sarah Kaufman ng Rudin Center for Transportation sa New York University, sanayan lang muna ang mangyayari hanggang sa makita na ng mga residente at mga motorista ang pagbuti ng trapiko sa kanilang lugar.
In other cities that have implemented this program, there was certainly an adjustment period. It was very unpopular at the start, and then people who lived in the area began to appreciate the reduction in traffic and the increased transit services. So ideally, that's what will happen here in New York, that the transit improvements will go hand in hand with everyone acclimating to the new scenario.
Ayon kay New York State Governor Kathy Hochul, mahalaga ang toll upang puhunan ng subways at buses sa New York. Ito anya ay para rin sa $15 billion debt financing para sa pagpapabuti ng mass transit sa lungsod. May 700,000 na mga sasakyan ang pumapasok sa Manhattan Central Business araw-araw. Dahil dito, bumabagal sa 7 miles o 11 kilometers kada oras. Noong 2003, sinimulan ng London ang kawangis na toll na ngayon ay nasa 15 pounds na o $19. Leslie Gumarang para sa mata ng Agila International, Trusted, Connected, On Point.
A TV for most people. Yan ang catchphrase ng tech giant na TCL sa presentation nila sa Consumer Electronics Show 2025 para sa inilabas nilang bagong QLED TV. Ipinagmalaki ni Scott Ramirez, Vice President ng Product Marketing and Development sa TCL, ang reformulated quantum dot crystals ng kanilang bagong TV screens. Inilabas din ng TCL ang bago nilang 5G smartphone na 60XE Next Paper.
We have for this year completely reformulated our quantum dot crystals. They are not only more vibrant, but they're also more accurate. So of course we can do 1 billion colors, but now we can do 1 billion colors with up to 98% plus of DCI P3 color gamut. We are going to give the consumer that great color for basically the life of the television.
The TCL 60XE Next Paper 5G also has a Next Paper screen and, yes, the key. With a quick switch of the key, the screen changes to an e-reader format, which looks and feels like paper and is easy on the eyes. New phone has a powerful camera that includes a 50-megapixel main camera for studio-level photography and a 32-megapixel front-facing camera for brilliant selfies.
Ibinasura ng social media company ng Meta sa platforms nito ang kanilang US fact-checking program. Binawasan din ng Meta ang restrictions sa mga online discussions nito. Si Ana Cui para sa karagdagang detalye.
Bilang pagsuko sa kritisismo ng conservatives at sa paglapit ng panunumpa ni Donald Trump bilang Pangulong muli ng Estados Unidos, tinalikuran ng Meta ang US fact-checking program ng mga plataporma nito. Ang hakbang na ito ay sinasabing pinakamalaking pag-overhaul ng kumpanya kaugnay ng political content nito. Kasunod din ito ng paghudyat ni CEO Mark Zuckerberg ng kanyang layunin na ayusin ang relasyon sa panibagong administrasyon. Sinusuportahan ito ni conservative group American Principles Project Policy Director John Schweppe. Anya, kailangan ng social media platforms na pag-aangin, hindi limitahan ang mga pag-uusap.
It further said this showed up in the choices that some made about what to fact check and that a program intended...
Yeah, Meta had a policy for a long time, last several years, where they were indiscriminate on this, but they really did try to downrank political content. And I think the way we need to look at it is that, all speech is speech. And so, if people want to debate sports, if they want to go Michael Jordan versus LeBron, that's really no different than Donald Trump versus Kamala Harris. And so people should be free to have those conversations and not have the platforms, which frankly should be acting as fair arbiters, determining what should be prioritized and what should not based on what the content is.
Damay sa mga pagbabago ang Facebook, Instagram at Threads. Tatlo ito sa pinakamalalaking social media platform sa mundo na may higit sa 3 bilyong users. Bilang kapalit ng formal na fact-checking program na sasala sa mga peking pahayag sa Meta platforms, plano ni Zuckerberg ang gumamit ng sistemang community notes tulad ng ginagamit ni Elon Musk sa X. Ani Shwepi, ang isang communal system ay nagdudulot ng demokrasya sa fact-checking process.
I like the idea of democratizing the fact-checking just because, and Zuckerberg actually made this argument in his video, but when you outsource it to one particular person with one particular political motivation or viewpoint, obviously you're going to have some dispute as to what's a fact and what's not, right? So this is why the free marketplace of ideas works. It's because you ultimately have people argue over what's true and what's not and hopefully get to a consensus. I just think that generally this is a good thing for the country. When you have these extreme views out there where they can be rebutted by the populace, people are going to be less likely to hold those extreme views, right? So you have a natural moderation effect for both sides if we have to talk to each other and we have to have these conversations.
Noong isang linggo, ginawang Global Affairs head ng kumpanya si Republican Policy Executive Joel Kaplan. At noong Lunes, inihalal nito si Dana White bilang miyembro ng board. Si White ay CEO ng Ultimate Fighting Championship at malapit na kaibigan ni Trump. Ana Cui para sa mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Dinala ni Coco Gauff ang Estados Unidos para sila ay makalamang sa United Cup title. Ng Poland para makuha ang 2-0 na panalo. Ito na ang pangalawang titulo ng US sa loob ng 3 taon sa pagsisimula ng United Cup noong taong 2023.
Sa iba pa mga balita, nanawagan ng hustisya ang Philippine Air Force o PAF sa pagkamatay ni SEA Games gold medalist Mervin Guarte. Si Guarte ay isang airman first class na sumali sa PAF sa pamamagitan ng direct enlistment noong taong 2015. Ayon sa PAF, hangad nila ang hustisya sa pagkamatay ng national athlete na ilang beses nang nagbigay ng karangalan sa Pilipinas at maging sa Air Force sa pamamagitan ng iba't ibang international competitions. Tiniyak din ng PAF ang kahandaan nito makipagtulungan sa Philippine National Police para sa investigasyon at tuluyang pagbibigay ng hustisya para kay Guarte. Tinawag ng hukbo ang batikang atleta bilang accomplished soldier athlete at na may disiplina, dedikasyon at commitment sa kanyang tungkulin at trabaho. Kahapon ng umaga, natagpo ang pinagsasaksak si Guarte sa Calapan City, Oriental Mindoro. Maaalalang nag-uwi si Guarte ng ilang medalya sa mga sinalihang sporting events na kinabibilingan ng isang ginto noong 2023 SEA Games, isang ginto noong 2019 at 2 silver noong 2011. Ang mga naturang medalya ay pawang sa running events.
Pinatunayan ng kampo ng aktor na si Tom Holland na engaged na nga sila ng actress-singer na si Zendaya. Ang nasabing usapin ay lalong kumalat matapos na makitang may suot na engagement ring ang aktres noong ito ay dumalo sa Golden Globe Awards. Ayon sa kampo ng aktor, isinagawa ang pag-alok nito ng kasal noong Disyembre sa bahay ng aktres. Hindi na nagbigay pa ng ibang detalye kung paano naganap at saktong petsa ng engagement. Nagsimula ang kanilang relasyon noong 2021 matapos na magsama sa pelikulang Spider-Man Homecoming.
At Narito po kami mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes para maghatid ng balita saan mang dako ng mundo. Magandang gabi po. Ako po muli si Ricky Matay.
At ako si Nina Richie Alagaw Flores. Ito pa rin pong mata ng Agila International. Para naman po sa iba pang mga balitang nangyari rin sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo, punta tayo kay Alma Angeles para sa Mata ng Agila World News. Take it away, Alma.
Thank you, Nina and Ricky. Good evening, everyone. I'm Alma Angeles for NET25 World News. On tonight's headlines, an unknown number of people are still unaccounted for after Tibet's 6.8 magnitude earthquake. Devastating winds drive life-threatening wildfires across Southern California.
Hopefully, we're wrong, but we're anticipating other fires happening concurrently. And that's exactly the previous experience we've had with these kinds of wind events.
Plus, U.S. expansion. President-elect Donald Trump suggests potential military or economic force involving Panama Canal, Greenland, and even Canada. Plus, a bold proposal to rename the Gulf of Mexico as the Gulf of America.
Pretty soon we're going to change because we do most of the work there and it's ours. We're going to be changing sort of the opposite of Biden, where he's closing everything up, essentially getting rid of $50 to $60 trillion worth of assets. We're going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. A lot of territory. The Gulf of America. What a beautiful name.
And the news starts now. Authorities are warning of worsening wildfire conditions in the Pacific Palisades, with strong winds expected to intensify the danger overnight.
Currently, the fire is at 1,261 acres and growing based on aerial reconnaissance. The fire is being fueled by a combination of strong winds and surrounding topography, which is making it extremely challenging for our personnel that are assigned to this incident. Evacuation orders are in place for approximately 30,000 residents, including the Highlands area.
We are not out of danger. The National Weather Service has predicted that the winds are going to pick up and get worse. We're going to have the most significant wind event between 10 p.m. this evening and 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. So it's incumbent that everybody have a wildfire action plan for their home.
By no stretch of the imagination are we out of the woods. You heard a chief say 10 p.m. tonight to 5 a.m. tomorrow will be peak winds. And having just quite literally an hour or so ago gone up the canyon and saw firsthand the impact of these swirling winds and the embers and the number of structures that are destroyed, not a few, many structures already destroyed, and the fact that people were still not evacuated, still did not heed the warning, we're just coming down the canyon, is a reminder of how serious this moment is and how important it is you listen to these evacuation orders. Emergency proclamations being drafted as we speak. And I just want to thank the president because that's something I don't take for granted. Hopefully we're wrong, but we're anticipating other fires happening concurrently. And that's exactly the previous experience we've had with these kinds of wind events. And that's why we continue to provide and supplement those resources from all across Northern California in particular.
Firefighters are battling what they're calling blowtorch conditions. The Palisades fire exploded in just hours, scorching over 1,200 acres, according to CAL FIRE. The fast-moving blaze has forced evacuations in Pacific Palisades, a neighborhood known for its multi-million-dollar homes in West Los Angeles. Dramatic scenes have unfolded as the fire, driven by relentless winds, jumped from 10 to 200 acres in just 20 minutes. Embers igniting spot fires as flames inch closer to homes. And rescuers are working through the night in Tibet, searching for survivors after a powerful earthquake near Everest killed at least 126 people and injured nearly 200. The quake, which damaged over 3,000 buildings, struck the Himalayan foothills on Tuesday morning and was felt in Nepal and parts of India. The Shigatse region, home to 800,000 people, bore significant damage. It's the traditional seat of the Panchen Lama, a key figure in Tibetan Buddhism whose spiritual authorities is second only to the Dalai Lama. Videos from the area showed homes reduced to rubble as rescue teams worked through debris, handing out blankets to locals. With temperatures dropping to minus 16 degrees Celsius overnight, survivors faced even greater challenges. The quake, measured at magnitude 7.1 by the USGS, is one of China's deadliest in recent years. While the region is prone to seismic activity due to its location on a major fault line, the level of destruction is severe. President Xi Jinping has called for an all-out rescue effort to save lives and support affected residents. This disaster echoes the 2015 earthquake in Nepal that killed nearly 9,000 people, highlighting the region's vulnerability to powerful earthquakes. The Office of the Civil Defense says it's preparing planned exodus to evacuate residents of Canlaon City in case Mount Canlaon's unrest escalates into a hazardous eruption.
In fact, kinakausap na natin yung DSUD as early as September, October last year. At naghahanap na tayo ng paraan. Ang isa sa mga challenges is to look for a land kung saan pwedeng mailipat ang mga kababayan natin. Ang maganda dito, nag-uusap si RD Sal at saka si Red na maghahanap ng lupa na pwedeng pagkalipatan. Pero yun lang, we have to be prepared. Because there's a possibility that that land will be outside of Canlaon City. Pagdating ng alert number 4, halos lahat mauubos. Ang labas ng ating evacuation, pagka-inactivate natin yung Oplan Exodus, ang nakikita namin, iisa lang ang daanan palabas ng Canlaon City. And that is going to Valle Hermoso. Merong daanan papunta ng La Castellana. Pero pag dumaan ka doon, nandoon ka pa rin sa loob. So hindi pwede yun. And we have to be prepared for the worst case scenario.
Meanwhile, severe snow and flooding have wreaked havoc across the UK, with heavy snow forcing 3 major airports to temporarily shut down and widespread flooding affecting parts of England. More than 200 flood warnings were issued as rivers overflowed, submerging villages and communities. The powerful weather system hit hardest on Tuesday, with significant disruption across the country. In addition to the flooding, snowstorms made travel difficult, especially in the northern and central regions of the UK.
But this is the worst time we've had for quite a while. In fact, I think it was a year ago when we had the similar flooding, but not as bad as this. But the damage caused in this area is tremendous to the shops and the expense that people have to go through to maintain these properties.
With more rainfall expected, the situation is far from over. The public is being urged to stay updated on weather warnings and take precautions to stay safe. A light aircraft crashed near Rottnest Island off the western Australian city of Perth, killing 2 tourists from Switzerland and Denmark, and the pilot, according to authorities.
It is my sad duty to confirm that 3 lives were lost when a seaplane crashed moments after takeoff at Thompson Bay. The bodies of the 3 deceased were recovered from the wreckage by water police divers last night. The victims include a 65-year-old woman, a passenger who we understand was a Swiss tourist, a 60-year-old man, a passenger believed to be a tourist from Denmark, and a 34-year-old man who was the pilot who lived in Perth. For something so tragic to happen in front of so many people at a place that provides so much joy, especially at this time of the year, is deeply upsetting.
Tragically, we have lost 3 lives.
we understand of the 7 passengers, 3 were couples and the pilot. 3 of those people are recovering in hospital, ranging from very minor injuries to a very serious hand injury. We are working with all of those survivors to understand what their observations were of the crash.
Malaysia and Singapore announced an agreement on a special economic zone in the southern Malaysian state of Johor, aiming to support investment and free up movement of goods and people between the countries. The Southeast Asian neighbors first agreed in principle to jointly develop the economic zone a year ago. Now, the agreement was announced during a visit to Malaysia by Singapore Prime Minister Lawrence Wong and senior cabinet ministers. Prime Minister Wong emphasized the importance of ASEAN unity, especially in the light of growing global competition.
We think it's going to be more important now than ever before for ASEAN to be strong, integrated and united, because the greater competition we face is not amongst ourselves within ASEAN, it's outside of the region. Everyone is trying to anchor major projects now in today's world where the big economies are all talking about reshoring, onshoring, nearshoring. They want the key projects to be nearer to their home economies. So ASEAN has to come together, look at ways in which we can enhance our value proposition and be competitive together. And Malaysia and Singapore can form a very important foundation for a stronger ASEAN. That's why the Johor-Singapore SEZ, the RTS, these are all critical building blocks towards more integrated ASEAN. And where ASEAN is concerned, we are talking about not just more trade and investment linkages, but infrastructure linkages, including the ASEAN power grid. These are all good projects that Singapore will support, and we hope under Malaysia's leadership, we can make good progress on these projects.
The two leaders also invited proposals for high-speed rail connections between the countries. The initiative seeks to address the daily congestion at the Causeway, one of the world's busiest border crossings, which sees thousands of Malaysians commuting to Singapore for work and study. This CES deal, along with the high-speed rail proposal, highlights the deepening cooperation between Malaysia and Singapore, laying the groundwork for greater regional integration and economic competitiveness. And President-elect Donald Trump is making headlines with bold remarks about expanding U.S. dominance, suggesting a dramatic reshaping of global relations. In a press conference, Trump suggested the U.S. should take control of both the Panama Canal and Greenland, even saying military force could be an option.
You're talking about Panama and Greenland. No, I can't assure you on either of those two. But I can say this, we need them for economic security. The Panama Canal was built for our military. Look, the Panama Canal is vital to our country. It's being operated by China. China. And we gave the Panama Canal to Panama. We didn't give it to China. And they've abused it. They've abused that gift. It should have never been made, by the way. Giving the Panama Canal is why Jimmy Carter lost the election, in my opinion, more so maybe than the hostages. The hostages were a big deal. But if you remember, and nobody wants to talk about the Panama Canal now because, you know, it's inappropriate, I guess, but because it's a bad part of the Carter legacy. But he was a good man. Look, he was a good man. Put it away for $1. They laugh at us because they think we're stupid. But we're not stupid anymore. So the Panama Canal is under discussion with them right now. They violated every aspect of the agreement, and they've morally violated it also.
Our canal's sovereignty is not negotiable and is part of our history of struggle and an irreversible conquest. Our canal has the mission to serve humanity and its trade. That is one of the values that Panamanians offer to the world, giving guarantee to the international community not to take part, nor be an active part of any conflict. The only hands that control the canal are Panamanian, and it will continue to be so. We are a country open to dialogue today, and always, to investments and good relations, but with the clear slogan that the homeland is first.
The canal, handed back to Panama in 1999, has seen increased Chinese shipping activity in recent years. Regarding Greenland, Trump cited national security concerns, claiming the U.S. needs control of the Danish territory due to rising Chinese and Russian naval activity.
Well, we need Greenland for national security purposes. I've been told that for a long time, long before I even ran. I mean, people have been talking about it for a long time. You have approximately 45,000 people there. People really don't even know if Denmark has any legal right to it. But if they do, they should give it up because we need it for national security. That's for the free world. I'm talking about protecting the free world. You look at, you don't even need binoculars. You look outside, you have China ships all over the place. You have Russian ships all over the place. We're not letting that happen. We're not letting it happen. And if Denmark wants to get to a conclusion, but nobody knows if they even have any right, title, or interest. The people are going to probably vote for independence or to come into the United States. But if they did do that, then I would tariff Denmark at a very high level.
It's a question of whether should we maybe collaborate a bit more with the U.S. We shouldn't be bought by anyone because Greenland is not for sale and Greenland will not be for sale, but we can have a closer collaboration on business development with the U.S.
However, as Donald Trump Jr. arrived in Greenland's capital for what he called a personal visit, the Danish Prime Minister firmly rejected the idea, stating Greenland is not for sale. In another surprising remark, Trump proposed using economic force on Canada, suggesting it could become the 51st state.
Economic force, because Canada and the United States, that would really be something. You get rid of that artificially drawn line, and you take a look at what that looks like, and it would also be much better for national security. Don't forget, we basically protect Canada. We don't need anything they have. We don't need their dairy products. We have more than they have. We don't need anything. So why are we losing $200 billion a year and more to protect Canada? And I said that to, as I called him, Governor Trudeau. I said, listen, what would happen if we didn't subsidize you, if we didn't, because we give them a lot of money.
Trump also proposed renaming the Gulf of Mexico as the Gulf of America.
Pretty soon we're going to change because we do most of the work there and it's ours. We're going to be changing sort of the opposite of Biden, where he's closing everything up, essentially getting rid of $50 to $60 trillion worth of assets. We're going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which has a beautiful ring that covers a lot of territory. The Gulf of America, what a beautiful name. And it's appropriate. It's appropriate.
These statements follow the recent certification of the 2024 election results by Congress. Trump also hinted at potential pardons for those involved in the January 6th Capitol attack, saying his team would look at the whole thing. Meanwhile, in the courts, Trump secured a temporary win when a Florida judge blocked the release of special counsel Jack Smith's investigation report. However, his attempt to delay sentencing in his New York hush money case was denied, with the hearing set for Friday. The U.S. Defense Department said it has added Chinese tech giants, including gaming and social media leader Tencent Holdings and battery maker CATL, to a list of firms it says work with China's military. Tensions are heating up between Washington and Beijing, with the U.S. Department of Defense adding Chinese tech giant Tencent to its list of companies linked to the Chinese military. Tencent, best known for its all-in-one app WeChat, and the gaming hit PUBG, is now under scrutiny by the Pentagon. While this designation doesn't trigger immediate sanctions, it certainly hits the company's image hard. In fact, shares of Tencent dropped 7% on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange after this news broke. Also on the list, battery maker CATL. It is the world's largest producer of electric vehicle batteries. The Pentagon claims both Tencent and CATL collect data for the Chinese military and may even be supporting military operations within the U.S. Both companies have strongly denied the accusations, calling the listing a serious mistake. And some lawmakers are now pushing for another Chinese giant, TikTok's parent company ByteDance, to face similar scrutiny.
We do not promote or remove content at the request of the Chinese government. The question is, are you 100% certain
that they cannot use your company to promote such messages.
It is our commitment to this committee and all our users that we will keep this free from any manipulation by any government.
If you can't say 100% certain, I take that as a no.
Under President Biden, the U.S. has maintained a tough stance on Chinese tech firms, with TikTok facing a potential nationwide ban by January 19th, unless ByteDance sells to a U.S.-approved buyer. But things could shift with the incoming administration. President-elect Donald Trump, who once pushed for a TikTok ban, now seems to be softening his stance.
It was amazing. So we got the highest vote ever for a Republican candidate. We won by 36 points with young people. That never happens. A Republican loses by 36 or 40. So I'm going to have to start thinking about TikTok. I think we're going to have to start thinking. Because, you know, we did go on TikTok, and we had a great response with billions of views, billions and billions of views. They brought me a chart, and it was a record, and it was so beautiful to see. And as I looked at it, I said, maybe we got to keep this sucker around a little while. You know, who wants to?
With Trump's inauguration just days away, his approach to the U.S.-China tech rivalry remains unclear. Will he continue the crackdown or take a different path? We'll stay tuned. Tensions are rising in British politics as Elon Musk takes aim at Prime Minister Keir Starmer and Labour MP Jess Phillips over their handling of sexual exploitation cases. His controversial remarks have sparked a heated debate, with Starmer defending his colleagues while critics questioning Musk's influence on UK politics. Love and Season for more.
A new political storm is brewing in Britain, with Tesla CEO Elon Musk at its center. The world's wealthiest man has launched fierce attacks against Prime Minister Keir Starmer and the Labour government. At the heart of the controversy are Musk's accusations about Starmer's handling of sexual exploitation cases during his time as Director of Public Prosecutions. The tech billionaire has also targeted Labour MP Jess Phillips, calling her a rape genocide apologist over her stance on grooming gang investigations in Oldham. Prime Minister Starmer responded directly to the accusations.
On the question of Elon Musk, look, I think most people are more interested in what's going to happen to the NHS, frankly, than what's happening on Twitter.
Later, Starmer defended his colleague and criticized those spreading misinformation.
Those that are spreading lies and misinformation as far and as wide as possible, they're not interested in victims. They're interested in themselves. Those who are cheerleading Tommy Robinson, not interested in justice. They're supporting a man who went to prison for nearly collapsing a grooming case, a gang grooming case. These are people who are trying to get some kind of vicarious thrill from street violence that people like Tommy Robinson promote. And those attacking Jess Phillips, who I'm proud to call a colleague and a friend, not protecting victims. Jess Phillips has done 1,000 times more than they've even dreamt about when it comes to protecting victims of sexual abuse throughout her entire career.
The controversy has reignited debates on the handling of child exploitation cases and law enforcement's response to organized grooming gangs. While a 2022 inquiry into Oldham found systematic failures in safeguarding, it didn't confirm allegations of organized exploitation. In an unexpected twist, Musk, who previously backed Nigel Farage's Reform UK party, has now withdrawn his support, claiming Farage lacks leadership qualities.
In public life, tough things get said. They get said by both sides of the debate. You're right, this man happens to be the richest man in the world. But equally, the fact that he's bought Twitter now actually gives us a place where we can have a proper, open debate about many things. And hey, even Facebook, even Meta are adjusting to the modern world. Free speech is back. We may find it offensive, but it's a good thing, not a bad thing.
Keir Starmer and Jess Phillips, by the way, who've both been on the receiving end of completely ill-judged and ill-founded criticism, are people who have done, in their professional lives, more than most people ever do to lock up paedophiles, rapists, wife beaters, and every other kind of scumbag in our society. As Director of Prosecutions, Keir Starmer opened up historic cases going after people who thought they'd gotten away with it.
The public reaction has been mixed. James Warren, a 53-year-old engineer, expressed his concern.
There's an outside body who's got private interests that we don't understand and we don't know. So it's an unelected official who's demonstrating a political interest for motives that we've got no idea where he's coming from. So, yeah, I do have concerns about it.
Raphael Oze, a gym manager in London, was more direct.
Elon Musk should not be involved in any form of politics. He should just stick to business, what he knows. There's a misconception that he knows politics because he made it in business. Micro and macroeconomics are two different things. Elon Musk should just stay out of politics, period.
As this political drama unfolds, questions remain about the impact of Musk's intervention in British politics and its implications for the country's political landscape. From London, United Kingdom, this is Love and Season reporting for NET25 World News.
And the news continues here on NET25. We'll be right back.
Dahil walang hinto ang balita.
Financial straits.
Mata ng Agila Weekend tuwing Sabado, alas 4 ng hapon. Ito ang NET25. Matatag, matapag, matapak.
Let's net together sa NET25. Sa NET25.
Meta Platforms, the U.S. tech giant, is ending its third-party fact-checking program on Facebook, Instagram, and other social media platforms. Now, U.S. media speculates the move could be linked to Donald Trump's upcoming inauguration on January 20. Since last year's presidential election, Meta has been working to improve its relations with Trump, even donating $1 million to a fund related to his inauguration. Take a look.
It's time to get back to our roots around free expression on Facebook and Instagram.
Meta Platform CEO Mark Zuckerberg said on Tuesday his company will end its U.S. fact-checking program and replace it with a user-driven system similar to Community Notes on Elon Musk's X platform. Zuckerberg also said Meta will reduce the curbs on discussions around contentious topics, such as immigration and gender identity.
We've reached a point where it's just too many mistakes and too much censorship. The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms.
Today would stop putting fact checks on its website and instead allow community to
Well, I watched their news conference, and I thought it was a very good news conference. I think they've come a long way. Meta, Facebook, I think they've come a long way. I watched it. The man was very impressive. I watched it on Fox. I'm not allowed to say that.
The move marks a reversal in Meta's policy, as Zuckerberg has long championed active content moderation, despite criticism from conservatives over alleged censorship on its platform. It also comes shortly after the company named Republican policy executive Joel Kaplan as global affairs head, and elected Dana White, CEO of Ultimate Fighting Championship and a close friend of President-elect Donald Trump, to its board.
We're going to move our trust and safety and content moderation teams out of California, and our US-based content review is going to be based in Texas. As we work to promote free expression, I think that it will help us build trust to do this work in places where there is less concern about the bias of our teams.
Some of Meta's fact-checking partners were surprised by the policy change, while others, including Reuters, did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Meanwhile, Elon Musk's X has come under fire for loosening its content moderation rules. The European Commission is investigating X over dissemination of illegal content in the EU and the effectiveness of measures taken to combat information manipulation, including the Community Notes system. For its part, Meta says it has no immediate plan to end third-party fact-checking in the EU.
Sony has officially entered the electric vehicle market with its Agila 1, now available for pre-order starting at $89,900. Revealed at CES 2025, the car marks Sony's first foray into EVs developed in partnership with Honda.
A new entrant into the competitive world of electric vehicles drove into view on Monday. Japanese tech giant Sony revealed its Agila 1 is now available for pre-order at a starting price of $89,900. Hiroki Totoki is president and CFO of Sony and spoke at the CES Technology Trade Show in Las Vegas.
At last, Agila 1 is ready for reservation. This product will be offered at the starting price of $89,900 for the origin trim and $102,900 for the signature trim.
The Agila 1 is Sony's first EV and developed in partnership with Japanese automaker Honda. It first unveiled a prototype of the vehicle at the same event 2 years ago. Sony executives said Monday both versions of the car come with a 3-year complimentary subscription to the company's connectivity and entertainment features. That also includes a driver assistance system. Sony's long-awaited push into EVs shows how manufacturers are focused on the cockpit experience in cars. It offers the potential to sell content via subscription services, especially as autonomous driving capabilities improve.
And with that, we end tonight's broadcast. For everyone here on NET25, I'm Alma Angeles. Thank you all for joining us. Good night.